Welcome to the Lift Oneself podcast, where we break mental health stigmas through conversations. I'm your host, Nat, and we dive into topics about trauma and how it impacts the nervous system. Yet we don't just leave you there. We share insights and tools of self-care, meditation, and growth that help you be curious about your own biology. Your presence matters. Please like and subscribe to our podcast. Help our community grow. Let's get into this. Oh, and please remember to be kind to yourself. Welcome to the Lift Oneself podcast. I'm your host, Nat, and today I have a special guest, and I hope I say her name properly, Shruti. And we're going to get into the conversation of cancer. And she's going to speak about her own journey. And I'm going to pose some questions also, because many of you know I just came out of a 2-year journey of supporting Natalie in her cancer journey. And she transitioned on November 27th. So I'm interested in hearing, the experience that Shruti has gone through and what she's bringing forth for other people that are going through their journey and experience of life. So Shruti, could you explain yourself to the listeners and introduce a little bit of who you are, your experience, and we can go from there.
Yes, Natalie, thank you so much. First of all, pray for your friend. I'm sure she is at a better place and much more peaceful now. So my journey, I'm Shruti Sethi, and my journey starts, I would say I've gotten a new birth in the year 2016 when I actually got diagnosed with cancer. Of course, my world flipped upside down. It was absolutely devastating news at the age of 34, where, when you're really focused on the career. And I was actually a fashion designer back then. I had my own label, I was doing my own things. And it all of a sudden, you get these diagnoses where there was no history. I mean, there was no cancer history in my family. And there was no major happening with regards to my health and major hospitalizations, or the doctors never told me I could have cancer. I never had this conversation. So it was a little too much to take in. I was also going through a divorce that time. I separated, and it's like I don't know what God wants me. I was like fighting everywhere, and when especially you're going through a financial issue, you're going the relationship issue and then health issue, like what the damn thing is happening in my life? Am I really? I mean, is my time good? I obviously thought like extreme things that what does God want from me? All these questions starts to come up. Why me? Why? It was very a lot to take. But you have to go through the things, like you have to go to the doctors. And I was alone. My parents were here in and I was in India that time. You have to go to the doctors, and the doctors tell you the usual thing: chemo, radiation. You have to go through the treatment, and all they talk is treatment, treatment, treatment. But they never talk. How did you get there? What is the root cause? Because I was more interested in why did my body get cancer at the first place. You have to like I had to really now there's a lot of information podcast and Google can show you so many things. But back then I didn't have very few people who were opening up or few groups where they were all talking about holistically and things. So I was more interested in all that. Because when you go to the hospital, when you see the scene in the oncologist office, you see the people there, first of all, they're so sad and they're like, oh, as if there's no life in them. And I didn't get to sit there. I used to get like so overwhelmed by seeing what's going on in the hospital. Like, even if I go through this, I don't want to come back again and again. So my journey actually, it was I was anxious about things that, okay, I have to go through chemo, my hair will go, and my skin, I look a certain way because you look into the magazines, you look at the articles, you look at the movies, people going through cancer, it's so miserable. So that movie was playing in my mind again and again. Then I started talking to more and more people about, why did I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is an immune system cancer. I didn't know what is immune system back then and what the hell is. But then researching and, taking responsibility in my hands, I understood that cancer actually doesn't happen all of a sudden. It takes almost a decade or more than a decade for your body to come to a stage where the tumor is developed.
Mm-hmm.
And all my question with the doctor was, why wasn't I told about this? Why was I not, what makes your immune system weaker so that it doesn't kill cancer cells? Every day in our lives, we develop cancer cells. Our body develops and it kills the cancer cells. So what was my body? Why was my body not capable enough? That was my question. And that actually is very, the root cause was inflammation. Then why inflammation? Because I always had underlying issues, certain health issues, which was like very, with the doctor said it's like minuscule, but actually everything comes together. So gut issues I've had severe acne, hormonal issues like PCOD, and I'd had anxiety issues. I've had issues with nausea, uh, acidity, plus a lot of. I was always blocked with my nose. I always was, like as if my sinuses were always blocked. So I also have taken certain heavy medications because of that. So these were certain issues already going on. And when you go to the doctor, all they give you is a pill and that's it. They never tell you to change anything about your lifestyle or anything. And for me, lifestyle was what? Lifestyle was looking good. That's it. Going to the gym, looking physically very good and fit. But nobody was talking about mental health. How stress can actually trigger cancer cells and trigger inflammation. So for me, it was like an eye opener. Or like, yes, I was going through stress because of the relationship. Because prior to 2 years of getting cancer, I was going through extreme stress, which I didn't realize that I had stress. I was really depressed. I so not sleeping well. 2 years because of all these things going on in my life, and I had my vitamin D levels in my like strikingly. And when I looked at the other parameters, they were also pretty low. Heavy metals in my body and stuff. And I was like, why am I, my normal doctors do not ask me to do a test of this? And it still persists today. Doctors, until unless you ask for taking a vitamin D panel, nobody will do it. So I had like, okay, what, doctors will do whatever they want. I have to integrate all these holistic modalities and functional modalities into my life because it's my life, not the doctor. Doctors will tell you, okay, just go away after the treatment. But it was also for me to not have a relapse again and again. Because again, when I clearly remember those stories in the hospital when women were taking second time treatment and third time line of treatment because the cancer was coming back and all. I asked most of the people, what did you do after cancer? And they said nothing. The doctors didn't advise, and they were taking eating all processed foods while taking treatment. Something didn't seem right. So of course, went to a lot of people. Like I worked with a nutritionist. I worked with someone who to take care of my mental health. I worked with so many natural healers and practitioners, naturopaths. So all of these together made me so much resilient and strong that in 4 chemos the cancer was absolutely gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered, and I started feeling light, and I started feeling positive, and I started feeling so amazing in my body. I started working again, and I was just like on top of my, so I incorporated yoga and breathfulness and mindfulness techniques. So my mind was calmed down, and I was I had such a great intuition. And I told my doctors, listen, now I think I told the doctors I want to get a scan done. Usually the scans get done after the six chemos, but I don't know. I got this intuition. I told the doctors, I think I want to get the scans, and the scans actually in 4 chemos showed I'm cancer free. And I'd never took radiation. I told the doctor, if something happens, I am going to come back to you, but I need to do this my way. And I took a break. I actually changed the city, and 1 year I worked on myself, on detoxing my body. My really worked on my mindset, work on my body, and since then I think I'm 8 years cancer free,
Congrats.
and never went to the doctors again. And I'm pretty much in good shape. I think I'm the best shape of my life in my 40s than in my 30s or 20s. I feel great. I'm helping people. There's a purpose in my life. I'm so blessed.
Mm-hmm. So you've told us a lot already about your life story. Before we get into some more, will you join me in a mindful moment so we can ground ourselves in our breath?
Absolutely, I would love that.
Okay. And for the listeners, as you always hear, safety first. So please don't close your eyes if you're driving or need your visual. Yet the other prompts you can follow through. So Shruti, if you feel comfortable in your seating and if it's safe to do so gently, close your eyes. And you're going to begin breathing in and out through your nose, bringing your awareness to watching your breath, not controlling it, just letting it have its own natural rhythm, allowing it to guide you in the body. There may be sensations or feelings coming up, and that's okay. Let them come up. You're safe to feel. You're safe to let go. Surrender the need to control. Release the need to resist and just be. Be with your breath. Drop deeper into your body. Now there may be some thoughts or to-do lists that may have popped up in your mind, and that's okay. That means the mind's working. Yet bring the awareness back to your breath, creating space between the awareness and the thoughts, and dropping even deeper into the body. Being in the space of being. Again, more thoughts may have popped up. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath, creating even more space between the awareness and the thoughts, and completely dropping into the body, into presence, into being. You may have noticed the rhythm of your breath has changed. It's just about being. Now coming back into your senses, into the present moment, at your own time and at your own pace. You're going to gently open your eyes while staying with your breath. How's your heart doing?
It's so calming and so beautiful exercise. I always love grounding.
Mm-hmm. Now I have a question. What did cancer teach you about love, loving your body, loving your breath, loving life?
Yeah, actually, I feel that first of all, it gave me space to think, because I was just going through life as if it's always about achievements, always about achieving this or thinking about future. How am I going to spend this? And how am I going to acquire this much amount of wealth, name, fame, everything? Because I was never living in the moment. I was always either thinking about the past or the future. So was like, as if God is telling me, just take a break from everything, just relax. And it was very anxious for me at those times. I didn't have anything to do. All I had to rest up because your body needs rest. And for a couple of days, I was not able to, I was as if like somebody put me in a box, locked it, and I don't have anything to do. But then, that's how breath work and yoga and doing small little things for myself helped me. It didn't change me all of a sudden, but it took some time. And I realized that, oh my God, I do not love myself. All I'm doing is either to do something to please someone or to validate something. But what about my own feeling? What about what I like to do when I am with myself? I don't enjoy my company ever. And when with cancer, when I was with myself, I realized, oh my God, I'm not enjoying what's happening. Like, I'm not myself with myself. And then it struck me that I do not love myself anymore. And that was something which was because, all my relationships, uh, if I talk about my romantic relationships, if I talk about all these other aspects of relationship, it was always about the other person. I had to give and give. And then then obviously there's a give and take, but I never thought about my own feelings. And that's how sometimes, so I've gone through a lot of abuse and stuff. And still I thought maybe there's something wrong with me. So during that period, it's so crucial for me to give that love to myself. And I realized self love is so important before even getting into any other relationship or getting into other stuff. Understanding. I know it led a lot of people in my life that time, but I would say some people who I thought I had given a lot of time, effort, and energy with them, they actually disappeared from my life. That was a very, like, it gave me such an, obviously, it gave me pinches and it was painful, but to let go of people. But then I realized that people who really like you and love you will never leave you no matter what. Whatever you're going through. And people who are just temporary, they're just there for a season and for a reason. That's because you have to learn certain lessons or you have to teach them certain lessons. So you have to let go and you don't have to ask them to, like, I was always like going up behind them and asking them, are you okay? Or something's going wrong with you. Why aren't you talking to me? I always wanted that attention. That also slowly shifted away. And I realized that this is, I have to work on myself. And that's why I took that 1 year break to realize what is that I need? What are my priorities? And how can I give that love to myself, which I was actually giving to others before? So that was a very important lesson, I feel. Working with love is, for me, is something. First, I need to give it to myself before sharing it with any other human being, because I feel when you love yourself, you can equally love the other person. I think more than that, but you also have your boundaries.
Exactly. I want to ask, oh, do you hear that feedback? No? There was a bit of feedback. I was hearing myself. Sorry. I was hearing myself. I want to ask, when was the moment that you discovered healing wasn't about just surviving cancer? It was about returning home to yourself.
It took me some time because initially you are swayed by information about treatments and the physical aspect of it. But when you sit and realize, certainly all of these things are happening, and when I started reading books, especially the book You Can Heal Your Life by Lewis, that actually really gave me such an important aspect about emotions and how your childhood influences your values till
Mm-hmm.
your adulthood. So I was like, oh my God, I had to go back to my childhood to understand what had happened to me as a little girl, and where are my values coming from, and how did I have these limited beliefs about myself. I've always had limited beliefs on and always have these people pleasing quality, which was actually a birth from my childhood, which I
Mm-hmm.
realized. And then it's funny we are not taught this in school about how to develop these life skills, and very later on in life, some people don't even realize. But cancer actually gave me that platform. I would say I'm so grateful for cancer because I realized so many things which I would have realized later in my, later in my age. I'm a very different person now, and like, of course, coaching people and stuff. But if I always tell my cancer patient, if you could understand the reason, life is happening for you and not
Mm-hmm.
to you, you can take away very important lessons and you can transform yourself so easily. So that's something which was like when I started accepting that life is happening for me, there's a reason behind that cancer is happening. What is the reason? You because we always want instant gratification. I want to know, I want to know now. Like I was like, I want to know now what's happening. That never, you can never get certain answers all of a sudden, but there's a process. When you go through the process, you will understand. Now I know why I had got cancer and what was the reason behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But that there are certain processes, and when you go through those processes, they're painful, yes, but they are like, for me, pain is nothing more than incoming blessings. Right? They're a process of coming incoming blessings. So when you go through that process, and I had to go through that process, and when you realize in that cancer journey that when I was sitting with one of the homeopath doctors, and all he did was before giving me any medication or before even I wanted to ask him certain questions, all he did was he shut me in a room with a camera in my face, and he asked me certain questions about my personal life, and gave me that space that I could cry out all my stuck emotions with this, and I felt so light after, so light. Then he told me something very important, that now your healing journey starts. Now you'll get, now you become cancer free. And those words stuck me. It was in the middle of my treatment, and I said, "How can he tell me like why?"
Mm-hmm.
And then after a few days, I realized that impact of getting rid of those stuck emotions and getting rid of that, that anger, that fear, in me. What it led, it created space in my body and in my mind. So it's very important to also let go of your emotions and the fear and the anger and the frustration. Sometimes you don't know how to, but that's how you need help of people, coaches, of healers, of practitioners. And it makes your life easier. Like it made my life easier when I started working with different modalities. You have to understand what suits you.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was all of these, mindfulness, yoga, and meditation. Changing completely, going whole plant based also gave me of a lot of. I started feeling very light in my body first of all, and I started feeling, like this anxiety was gone in my body. I didn't have any. I was calmed down. I was
Mm-hmm.
very calm, and I feel that what you become, what you eat. Eat. First thing is to change the nutrition, because it's very important to each morsel of food which you take in becomes your cell, goes to the cellular level, becomes your mitochondria.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very careful in that, and I I started getting an insight of what it is doing to my body. All of these things, I would say, slowly and gradually. I mean, all of a sudden you don't realize, but during the process, I realized that, okay, yes, I have come to myself, and I started getting more intuitive about my body and myself. And because I was slowing down and really living in that moment, I got it. Otherwise, if you're like, oh, just in that living a fast paced life and always in that flight and fight mode, I don't think so. I would have come to myself and realized about the certain things.
Mm-hmm. So you've worked with a lot of people that have chronic illness.
Yes.
What's the one emotional or energetic pattern that you see those struggle with? And what is the shift that finally opens the door for them to enter into the healing?
Yeah. So generally, I would say, if I have to talk about, work with a lot of breast cancer and ovarian cancer patients. And one question when I ask them is, what were you doing 2 years or 3 years prior? Most of the women have suffered with low self esteem. They had terrible relationships with, uh, like romantic relationships or relationships with their parents. It has been estranged.
Mm-hmm.
And there, they're always, the self love for themselves is very, very low because of the self esteem. They've always been so caring and over givers that they didn't realize. Like, I've had a woman who actually knew she had a tumor when she was in America, but she never told because of COVID and because she thought that it would be too much for her family to handle. And then it delayed doctors to find, and then it became stage 4. So I feel, when you talk to them and then make them realize that you've always been in this giving modality, now you have to give yourself. Work on your self love. It doesn't mean that you just shut off everything and you don't do whatever you've been doing, but just take some hours for in a day for yourself and your own healing. Do things which you like and work on your mindset. Like, feeling validated only because somebody you give or somebody does for you is something, is not actual self love.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also not going to just going to a parlor and getting your nails done. It's like, how are you enjoying your company and how are you, when you're walking, how are you feeling? So that actually made a lot of sense to a lot of women. So I'm working with someone who got a relapse of ovarian. She's very young, in 40s. And when I talk to her, she's coming from a very great, good family and everything. Is which two beautiful daughters. And when I started working on her mental health, so one question which I asked is, "What do you see yourself in the next few years?" And then she told me, "I've never thought about this because all she has thought about her husband, her daughters." So she doesn't know where she wants to stand for the next few years in her life. So I've I've also done this exercise with myself when I was going through cancer, like visualization. How do I see myself in the next 5 years? And those answers didn't come all of a sudden, but I saw myself helping others. I don't know in what I wanted to help. And I really told, like, I have always had conversations with gods or your higher energy, higher power, whatever, with myself, that tell him, God, if I get well, I'm definitely going to go out and help someone with this information I have gathered, because it took a lot of patience, a lot of troubles for me to go out and talk to people in spite of all the things I was going through. And it just happened very organically for me. Those seeds were soaked in of me helping others, and automatically the doors open for me. So I always tell women that have that, there, because cancer gives you uncertainty. find those certain moments in your day. Like I started my journey of meditation during cancer, visualization, and those were my really happy moments because I saw myself doing like traveling or going to places, walking on the beach. It really made a difference, gave me happiness. And when you come into that vibration of happiness in a little few moments, it changes a lot of things.
It does. It does. You wrote a book called The Healing Power Within, or the Healing Power Within. You emphasize tuning into the body. For
Yeah.
someone feeling overwhelmed or disconnected, what's the very first step to begin with?
What grounding exercise we did right now, I think it's the best way to understand that. Because a lot of people, I ask them, they can't even sit still. And when you work with your breath, like you said, just work with your breath, let the thoughts come in, do not really push your thoughts away. I think that for me also that changed because I was never into yoga. I was always going to the gym or doing things because I felt I just can't remain in this one posture for a long. It's made me very since I had anxiety, it made me more anxious. So
Yeah, Can.
then I'm like, then I tell them, or then I ask people to just first connect with your breath because most, I'll tell you, 80 to 90% of the people are not even breathing correct,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I take these yoga sessions and meditation sessions and I check how they are breathing. They're not even breathing correct. So, and I was not breathing correctly. With my yoga teacher actually corrected me. So first thing is to connect with your breath. Really connect with the breath. That's the first thing which you could do. And the second thing I feel, which people could also do, is just listen to some sort of a mantra or just to Om, because Om is a universal sound
Mm-hmm.
that connects you to higher power, it connects to balances all your chakras, the seven energy centers. It's very simple. You can just plug in on YouTube, start that, start humming it together. That will also make a big energy shift in your mind and your body. So I think these two simple things, if anybody's tried that, that would be the first step they could do towards connection with their own being, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Now, what would your past self say to you right now?
Oh, I love this question. My past self would say, I'm pretty proud of you. I'm very, very proud of you. Look what you've achieved. Look where you were. And now you are helping others and living such a satisfactory life. I wish I was that you, which you are right now. I could have done wonders, but no, it's okay. I think the past, I would embrace my past and the present as well, because if I was not that person, I would have not overcome the things. And that whole journey was so beautiful, as if I would say from a caterpillar to becoming that butterfly
Yeah.
of hope. And people are afraid of taking pain. People are afraid of failures. I would say that's such a, when you go back in your life and you said you overcome such immense things and pain and failures in your life, that's something which is a story to remember, not like your achievements of your wealth or anything. That will not give you that much satisfaction. This I remember when I was in the hospital wards, talking to cancer patients who were given no time, and they were all talking. They never talked about their achievement. They never talked how much wealth I have. All they said that I wish I had started earlier, and that's something which really stayed in my heart. When I talk to people, when I work with people who are in their 70s, who are in their 60s, late 60s, 70s, 80s. I see the mistakes they had done, and they're not taking care of their health and their mind. And it's like a waking call for me too. it gives me energy to push myself, push my boundaries, and work more towards my well-being.
Now, what would your future self tell you about fear?
Oh wow. Future self. I think my future self said that there's no point in fear. Fear is just a very it's just in your mind, and you have that strength and capability to overcome anything. And fear is a very artificial thing, which is more which is given more by your family or friends because they don't know about your journey. So just don't talk to them about it, or just don't listen to them. You have everything and anything. If you want, you can achieve certain things. So don't let fear come on your way to your success. And I've done this before in my uh, and you've done this in your past as well, because you thought that this will fear you out, and you overcame that, and hence you can do anything. So don't let fear come in your way of achieving things.
Now, I know many of the listeners have heard a lot. So, are you able to let them know where they can find you and what you have to offer, and even with the book?
Absolutely. So my book is available on Amazon. It's called The Healing Power Within by Shruti Sethi. And my website is called Avana Health. It's AWAANAHELTH.com. I am on all social medias, on Instagram, Facebook. Anybody who wants to contact me, I do personal transformation sessions. I also have a group, a community where we do free sessions, especially with cancer patients. We meditate together. We have these beautiful webinars on different topics. So, whoever wants to join my community, please find me on Instagram, ping me, give me a shout out, and I definitely will get back to you.
Now, what's one intention you'd like to leave a listener that's listening in right now?
Then my main intention, and I would say, I really want to reach out to 2 million people and help them remain cancer free, and tell them that, cancer can be 90% of the cancer can be prevented. It's just that you have to do consistent steps towards it. And if you are, because, it's not always easy to go through that journey. You've seen it with your friend.
Mhm.
It takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of, and sometimes it's very difficult for certain types of cancer if you have
Mhm.
to reverse it. So why wait for cancer to happen? It's not a disease. It's not a happy disease to have,
Mhm.
any disease for matter. But this one is like it'll burn your pockets. It will also affect your friends, family. So, and remember, and always understand that, your DNA changes, a lot of changes. And what are we leaving behind for our future generations?
Mhm.
It's been said that in 2050, 1 in 5 person is going to get cancer again. So the gravity is huge. It is getting worse and worse. Younger people are getting cancer, and you just don't you lose a lot of time and effort and energy. So
Mhm.
why not do these simple things for prevention every day of our lives, and live a little more conscious life, so that we remain disease free, that matters. So that my intention is only to help people and inform that cancer can be prevented. And please look into your lifestyle. I have a thorough checkup done twice a year, and always understand what's going on and in tune with yourself and your body.
I want to thank you for doing the alchemy in your life. You've taken impurities and you've turned them into gold, yet you didn't keep the gold for yourself. You're sharing it with others by, offering services and education and holding space for others. So I really want to thank you for the light that you're shining in the world. It's really has been a pleasure to be in your space and hear your story.
Thank you so much, Natalie. It means a lot. And thank you so much for doing these podcasts. I always say you're one of the people like you help us to share our story with your listeners, anybody who's going through cancer or anybody who's going through certain diseases. If they take one or two things from that, they can really change. So thank you for really doing this and being a light worker in this dark world.
You're welcome. Please remember to be kind to yourself.
Absolutely.
Hey, you made it all the way here. I appreciate you and your time. If you found value in this conversation, please share it out. If there was somebody that popped into your mind, take action and share it out with them. It possibly may not be them that will benefit. It's that they know somebody that will benefit from listening to this conversation. So please take action and share out the podcast. You can find us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok under Lift Oneself. And if you want to inquire about the work that I do and the services that I provide to people, come over on my website. Come into a discovery call, liftoneself.com. Until next time, please remember to be kind and gentle with yourself. You matter.